voice and shout. We're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's time for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land, yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, Kash? Hey, Terry.
I dialed myself in more. Did it help?
Yeah,
All right. All right, cool.
you've got a lot of contrast going on. You know,
Yeah, I like that. It's my vibe. That's my thing.
I've got like grayish brown on white, which is closer than white T-shirt and all that. So
Yeah.
always looking good, Kash. I mean, what else can you do? I mean,
I try. I got to use this light to make myself look handsome. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't even do a great job. It helps me.
I tried to do the same with my light. I tried putting it a couple blocks away to see if it made me look any better, and you couldn't see me then. So there's not a great distance, I guess.
Yeah, you'll get there. Just practice.
Can you do the Instagram filters? Could you put like dog ears on me or something? Or
No, I can't. I can't do any of that thing right now. But I tell you what, with this new software that I got, I've been using DaVinci Resolve for my editing. Bro, there's so much. I can create animations, bro. I can literally create my own cartoons in DaVinci Resolve.
I was going to say, Kash the cartoon. I like it.
It's coming. It's coming.
Dawn's here. Welcome. Creole Queen. How are you? Oh, Kash is putting messages up. Look at how like together you are, man. Nice.
Yeah, I got it. I did it right this time. That's the actual link. It's not the old one anymore. I got the right one up there. So it just automatically pops up when I go live now.
Don't you love that when you do the right one?
Yeah. It took a while.
Southern Grammy, welcome. Alvaro, welcome.
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 Everybody.
I like going through these. This is like getting like mail to me, like welcome,
Yeah.
Melinda. Patrice,
It's really
welcome.
nice to see them all just flowing, when I was viral, when I used to be like the viral sensation in 2020, it was nonstop. You couldn't do this. You wouldn't be able to do this. It would nonstop just be boom, 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 comments all throughout the whole live. Constant. It was great.
Hi, Diane, welcome. Jim Bob, welcome. Casey, what's up?
Casey in the house.
Terry says welcome to everybody. And to please share because she always remembers and I always forget.
Like the live, guys. Smash that like button. Share this thing out.
Roll call, Bueller. That was a Chicago movie.
Uh-huh.
That was the St. Patrick's Day parade that they were in.
I'm going to that this year. I'm going to go to the St. Patty's Day parade out there in Chicago this year.
It's like always the coldest day of winter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's nice outside right now, surprisingly. It's 36 degrees right now at the end of January. That's crazy.
I thought you said nice.
Yeah, that is nice. It was like -2 just last
Oh,
week.
it was 80 here today.
That's really nice. You
Yeah.
guys got that humid stuff, bro. When I went to Florida, instantly when you walk outside, you start sweating. It was crazy. It
You just
wasn't
got to
that
dress for
dry
it, you
heat.
know?
How? What do you want me to wear a burqa? I got to dress like a nun?
Now I wear
What?
like a dry fit with no sleeves and like swim shorts and
There was no saving
flip
me. My
flops.
hair turned orange. My hair turned orange out in Florida, bro.
I don't
The
think that's a
sun
thing.
bleached my hair.
Did you have like lemon juice in it or something?
Nah, bro. It's just my hair is it looks black, but my hair is really dark brown, right? And I guess when I went out there and I was swimming in the ocean and I worked out in the sun all day, I was doing fencing with my cousin Joey. And when we were out
Like
there all
on
day,
guard fencing?
no, fool, building fences.
Oh, you
And
said worked out.
bruh,
I thought
my
I
hair
thought
turned
like
orange.
Cash
You're
is
missing the
doing like,
point.
you know,
You're missing the point. My hair turned orange, bro.
if
was
I hear
crazy.
cash and fencing and workout in the same sentence, I'm stopping exactly what we're doing right then and there and I'm getting details.
I mean, I wouldn't mind fencing though. I always thought that was pretty cool.
You'd probably try to do it with like something a little bit more substantial.
No, I'd use like the little needler sword that they have.
Okay.
The giant thread
What's
needle.
up, Andy?
South Carolina in
Melinda
the
Mack
house.
from South Carolina. And then, important question here for you, Cash. Chicago deep dish pizza, all it's cracked up to be. And I'd like
What?
to add, I'd like to add an add on to that the best deep dish. What's the best deep dish?
Spinach, deep dish spinach.
No, I mean like what place?
Oh, well, that's rough. It depends. I mean, for me personally, when I go to Chicago, which I'm going tomorrow, I'm hitting Giordano's for dinner. That's where I'm going. So
Giordano's
they've
is
got
good.
they've got a fantastic deep dish spinach pizza. Fantastic.
So apparently Jim Bob doesn't know from my lovely accent that I too am from Chicago.
Right.
And I would say Lou Malnati's is the best. And
Never had it.
the patty sausage with the vine ripe tomatoes. Oh, so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so good. And then
It's
thin
either-
crust, the thin crust, Vito and Nick's on the south side.
Vito and Nick's I've had, and it is phenomenal. You know what's good on the Indiana side and Whiting? Capri's pizza. You ever had Capri's?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, bruh. Some of the best. Some of the best.
We only went to Indiana for fireworks.
We got those too a lot.
Yeah, you got a lot of good fireworks there.
Yeah, but it's right off of when you're going off Ewing, going down Ewing, and then it turns into Indianapolis, going towards Indiana, the Indiana side.
Yeah,
Right there, literally right there, where it turns into Calumet, where you could get off, and there's like Indianapolis, and then there's Calumet, and they merge right there on the corner. Capri's Pizza, fire,
there you
fire,
go.
bro.
So we gave you not only a good answer, we gave you a great answer there, Jim Bob. Any other pizza questions? That's kind of my forte. So,
Okay, here I got one for you.
yep.
Where's the original Maxwell's?
Like on Maxwell Street, you mean?
Nope. Maxwell's the hot dogs, Polishes.
I thought it was on Maxwell Street.
Nope.
Okay.
Roosevelt and Taylor.
It's right there. I mean,
That's
You're-
the
you're
original.
like a block
there's a
off-
big
block
old,
off.
there's a big discussion to be had of which one's the right one, but I'm going with that one. It's just better.
okay. Ask Pritzker. Did you see that thing? So Pritzker said for Trump to get the immigrants, he's going to have to go around him. And somebody's like, that'll take a long time.
Yeah.
Go all the way around Pritzker. We should send him a case of Ozempic. What do you think?
Yo, there's some crazy stuff coming out about Ozempic. I knew it was something wrong with it. I'm like, ain't no way people just losing all this weight and there ain't gonna be no problems in the future. And it came out. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with Ozempic. This poor girl was crying. She got her body right, but now she got like osteoporosis. Bone density is super low. She's like, I'm like basically Mr. Glass now. I can't even fall down if I want to. I Can't play
Jeez.
sports. I'm like, yo, that sucks. What's going on, Bethany? What's up, everybody? Appreciate you for being here, y'all.
Mundelein. I don't think I've had pizza in Mundelein. It's way out there.
I've never even heard of it. Underline.
Way north.
Yeah, I'll be in Oak Brook.
All right. So welcome, everybody. I can't find the right slides to promote everything. So I don't know what I did. I think I was having all sorts of problems today yet again. And but we are doing more in our series about faith and freedom. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about liberating our inner cities. So we've kind of gone on like a little bit of a religious kick. And so, we've been talking a lot about, I've kind of formed this idea talking to Kash about faith, about how faith-based organizations and faith communities are better serving the needs of people than the government is. And it kind of combines my libertarianism and localism and agorism with my faith. And so we've been, kicking this around both on the show and as we talk on the phone and stuff. And so we wanted to dive a little further into it today. So, welcome everybody. Thanks for saying hi in the comments. Keep them coming. Terry is monitoring the comments and make sure we'll see them all. Hello, Mrs. Silk from Maryland. Welcome. So Terry, I'll put you back in the back there. Thanks for doing this. And so let me get on the right screen here. So basically, we're talking about faith and freedom, liberating our inner cities, and how the church and the state kind of butt heads when it comes to helping people in the city and what the government tries to do and what they prevent faith-based communities and organizations from doing. So my questions are, is the government intentionally sidelining churches in the inner city? And then what happens when all of the faith-based solutions get stripped away in favor of state control? So in this, we're going to talk about how government policies have weakened the role of churches in the inner city, the battle between religious freedom and state control in urban America, how faith-based organizations provide better social services than the government, and what happens when the state interferes with religion and how to fight back. So I think that, the government interfering in faith communities in our country has severely hurt churches and faith in this country. So some stats to back that up are 40 million Americans have stopped attending church in the last 25 years. And that's the biggest religious shift in U.S. history. 57% of Black Americans say churches play a central role in their communities, yet faith-based institutions receive less than 5% of government social service funding. The number of faith-based foster care agencies has dropped by 30% due to clashing with the government over regulations and religious principles. Over 1,000 Catholic schools have closed in the past decade, disproportionately affecting inner city students. 60% of food banks in the U.S. are run by religious organizations, yet the government increasingly restricts faith-based aid and those services. So here's why this topic should matter to you. Your tax dollars fund failing government programs while faith-based solutions are sidelined. Government interference in religious institutions threatens freedom of speech and personal liberty. Church-led initiatives have proven more effective in reducing poverty, crime, recidivism, way more than state-run services and welfare. Faith-based schools outperform public schools, yet they face increasing government hostility, and religious freedom is under attack in this country. And its suppression disproportionately affects inner city communities. So what do you think about all this, Kash? What's your take on those stats? And, the overall state of affairs in this country.
Well, I mean, when you were saying all the stats, I couldn't help but think like, okay, are they really crippling them? Right. And if so, is that why we see so many churches with pastors that are scam artists now, that take all the money for themselves instead of putting it back into the community? So I don't know. I think about a lot of stuff when you talk about that. I mean, when you say 57% of Black Americans say that church is a pivotal role in their community, is that the stat, 57%?
For Black Americans.
Yeah, for Black Americans. I'm just like, where? I mean, I know 50% of people, 57% of Blacks might say churches are in their community, but I don't see where they're playing a pivotal role. I don't see that at all. What community? Where are these communities at where church is playing a pivotal role in society? Because I don't see it. I would love to see it. I would love for that to be the case. I just don't see it. So I'd like to know where that is.
Okay. So my first topic here is talking about the church as a force of community development. So churches have long served as pillars in the community, offering not only spiritual guidance, but also tangible support through various social services. In inner city areas, churches often become the only beacon of hope, addressing economic, educational, and social challenges faced by the residents of those communities. So some examples of that are, economic support, where churches provide job training programs, help community members develop skills to secure employment. Educational initiatives, many churches offer schools, tutoring, after school programs, assisting students in improving their academic performance. And then health services. Churches frequently organize health clinics and wellness programs, providing access to medical services for underserved populations. So some strategies for improving those in the inner city would be continuing to form partnerships with local businesses. They can collaborate with local enterprises to create job opportunities and internships for community members. Financial literacy workshops. We always talk about how poorly the schools do with financial literacy. So they can offer classes on budgeting, saving, and investing to promote economic independence. Youth mentorship programs, establishing mentorship initiatives to connect young people with positive role models. Community development programs. They can engage in housing rehabilitation and neighborhood beautification efforts to improve the living conditions of the community. And then advocacy and social justice. Mobilize congregations to advocate for policy changes that benefit the community. So, Kash, what do you think from those different strategies? What jumps out at you there as something that really sounds like it could make a difference in communities?
All of those could make a difference in the community, but I think that there's a bigger issue with all of those things, though, when talking about implementing them, because in doing that, right, say they do a financial literacy course, right, trying to teach people how to be financially literate, but if you look at the churches, most of the members are poor. You know what I'm saying? Because, and not just that, they're poor, but their pastors aren't. And their pastors are, driving around in the nicer cars, having the nicer clothes. And they could teach you, like, here, yeah, if you follow these guidelines right here, you could save money better. But then he's telling you got to give him 10% of you being poor. And he knows your finances. If they're doing a financial literary class, they're going to know, like, yo, they really struggling. I don't know how they negative right now when it comes to paying their bills with the money that they bringing in, but yet they still going to require you to tithe. So it's just, for me, I would be insulted personally. I'd feel insulted if the church did a financial literacy and then I partake in it and then they see that I'm broke and then try to hit me with a tithe, but I mean, yeah, it could be helpful, of course, to teach somebody a skill that they didn't have about money. You talk about the mentorship programs, that could work. The mentorship programs will be great. I would love to see that. It was helpful when I was a kid, when they did it, but at the same time, then you'll have to have people be like real members of the community, not the people that get hired or come into the church from the other community just because they're there to get the money. And you see that all too many times. You see these churches pop up and you got a whole bunch of people in the church, but they're not from the community and they all doing better than the people in the community. And they're there to guide you and tell you what you need to do to get closer to God, you know, and to live a right life. But they don't know your experience, you know, and that's some of the problems that people run into from communities like where I come from. You know, you go to a nice church that pops up in your area and you meet the people and everything's nice. It's a good feel and all of that, but they're all dressed better than you. You know, I could dress just as nice as you, but I got to go over here and I got to slang. You know, I got to do something illegal to get my money right so I could come in presentable before, like you guys are, you know? So it's just like, in a lot of churches, I'm not saying it's every church, but you feel the imbalance. You feel like, okay, there's two different classes of people in here. And then you try to attribute that as, okay, well, then I just got to make my faith stronger. Maybe it's because they're closer to God than I am that they're able to live the way that they live or have things that they have or dress the way that they dress, but it's not. And they don't tell you the real reason why they're able to dress like that is because they got your money. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think too deep into it. I'm not a real big fan of today's church. I'm a fan of the Christians, the real believers all day long. I love the people with a real heart for it. But when I see these churches, I feel like they just take from the people. You know, I don't feel like they're doing any good. So.
Well, for the purposes of this conversation, let's talk about the good ones, because obviously there's, you know, good ones where, you know, the people are, you know, really engaged and really out there, you know, fighting for the community and trying to do what's best for the members of the community. I get that they're scam artists and they're in every industry, and, you know, money attracts greed, right? So anywhere there's a pool of money, there's going to be people trying to siphon off that pool of money. TK said that when people are suffering, they almost always turn to churches for help. I mean, I believe that, you know, it's, you know, less red tape. And, you know, I think that the church would do better with the money. You know, they'll look at somebody and they'll say, you know, well, did you try to get a job? Did you try to do this? You know, they can quickly evaluate whether that person needs assistance, you know? Yeah. And TK also adds, I think it's been proven removing God, family, and faith does not work 100%. The decline in morality and humanity is obvious. And then Bethany says the government needs the faith-based institutions to not help the communities because they are a foil to the government's outreach programs. We would be better to see how the government is failing, or we would better see how the government is failing. Yeah. And then let's see, Chris says there is some elitism in most church communities.
That's it. That's it right there. That's the point that I'm making. But if I pretend like those, so if I was to pretend like that's not the case with most churches, not all churches, there are some really good churches that are, you know, they're smaller and they're faith-filled, but they're not able to help as much with the community. And that's where the thing is. So when you talk about the help that gets provided by the church, it's not, you're not going to find a small church that is struggling with the people, right, that can do all the things that we know these other churches can do. And I guess that's where my dilemma is, because I grew up in the church. I love the church, but it's just to see the state of the church while you're still looking at the community. Like, how can your church exist in this community while people are suffering, where people are hungry, where people are homeless? It doesn't make any sense. And to answer Andy, he says, if you're envious of someone else's, that's your personal issue. It's not about being envious. It's not an envy thing. It's not that at all. It's saying that you popped up in my community, right? You have the means to open up a church in my community. You come into my community. You're not a part of my community, but you want my community to be a part of your church. And when you're in this church, you're not providing me with anything to help me believe what you're telling me is true about God. If everything in that Bible, which most of us know the Bible, you know, believe it or not, people that come from where I come from, they know that Bible, right? Which is why we're so critical of the church, because we know what it says in there, how you're supposed to do if you're a deacon. We know what it says, what you're supposed to do if you're a bishop, if you're a leader of the flock. We know how you're supposed to act. We know what you're supposed to do. But when you watch them in the community, they don't do those things. They sleeping with your guy's chick, or the pastor's he's pimping basically. He's getting your money. He's got a nice car. He's got the nice shoes. He's got the nice suit. Shows up and gives this sermon. You never see him again until next Sunday. He's not out there feeding the community. He's not out there helping with medical bills. He's not out there. They're not doing anything. Use the First Baptist Church from Hammond. We'll use them. The First Baptist Church, one of the wealthiest churches in Indiana. Okay. And they set it up to where you could become a member of their church. You have to pay the tithes. And then they want to start to train you. Like, you got to wear the suits. You got to wear the skirts if you're a girl, right? And that lets them know, okay, they're with us. They dress like us. We got them. They're going to listen. And then you got the other people that show up there that want to become members, but they don't want to necessarily dress like that. They don't. And they're the ones that are looked down on. And then when you get into the church, you realize, oh, like all the scandal that came out with that church. They've been molesting children in that church for God knows how long. Okay, they were protesting in front of this church that's been a part of the community, busing children every Sunday, every Wednesday to go to their church. Very wealthy, while the people around them poor. And they say, well, we helped house the homeless. Yeah, they had the homeless come in to the church, like they'll get the drug addicts and all of that a place to stay. They got to be in by this curfew, and it doesn't matter if they're doing drugs or not. It doesn't matter. You're going to clean up. You're going to clean up for us. So basically, they were just to help. We'll give you a place to stay tonight, and we'll give you some food, and you do all the work that we want you to do inside the church. And we're not going to help you with job training. We're not going to help you get employment. We're not going to help you do any of those things. We're just going to give you a place to stay and some food, and you can stay doing what you do, stay being a drug addict. And they're staying behind there. They're molesting kids. Pastors got all kinds of stuff going on. It was horrible. So that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Not that there aren't some great churches. The church that I grew up in was great. They did work in the community. The First Assembly of God, which is now the Gate, Pastor Jay, they did a lot of work in the community. They came out on Saturdays with Adopt a Block. They came out and handed out food, and not even just in our community. We drove through Gary, Indiana. We went out there and hit Broadway, handing out food to people. Didn't ask them nothing except did they know Jesus. And we gave them food and took that as a chance to minister and invite them. That's the work of the church. It's actions backing up their faith. I'm showing you my faith by my actions. That's what my church did growing up. You don't see that no more. You don't see them going up on Thursday, sidewalk kids. You know how they did at my church, pulling up for the kids in the community where there's gunshots going on all the time. You may have lost somebody the other day in the community, but they showing up with that little bus, popping up on the street, on the block where it goes down at, and having sidewalk kids for the children. That was a real church. Those were real people that care about the community, and they're still caring about the community. Penny, Dale, Rob, Scott, they still care about the community. They got a new church they just invited me out to. I'm gonna go check it out. The Anthem Church in Hammond, Indiana. I'm gonna check it out one of these days. I'm gonna go. Because I know if they're there, then they got some good people there, because I know they're good because of their actions. But there's not a lot of churches that are doing what they do and what they did when I was a kid. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is the government regulations and control keeping the smaller churches that are more agile, more capable of meeting the immediate needs of the community, keeping them down or preventing them from even starting or being successful, and allowing the big churches that can afford the lawyers and, to, give the donations to the right politicians, allowing them to thrive and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, as an agorist and somebody that, advocates for localism, I believe that the bigger something gets, the more disorder there's going to be. That the best entity is the smallest entity closest to the community or the problem. So I wonder if it's kind of like a chicken and the egg thing where, we're talking about an area where, there's some good and some bad, but is the government really causing there to be less good?
I don't know. I can't say, but I can tell you this. I don't believe that the bigger a church gets, that's what makes it, become corrupt. It's not that. It comes down to leadership in the church. If that person is corrupt and has ulterior motives, see, when you start out doing something, and this is true with all people, when you start out doing something that you feel a passion for and you feel like you can turn into something, then you're going to give it your all. You're going to do everything to make it impressive. And that's how these churches start. They want to make the church impressive. They're trying to grow the church. And once they get the growth, well, now they get lackadaisical. They're lazy. They don't care anymore to try to do the things that they were doing when they first started, because they're so, now they want to have a TV network, and they're focusing on the production, and they're focusing on taking this flight over here to preach in front of these people. And they're saying they're spreading the word of God, but you're not spreading the word of God when you're not taking the actions. You were spreading the word of God when you first started. And it wasn't through just your preaching. It was the actions you were taking in the community. And a lot of these churches forget that. They forget to take action in the community. Faith without works is dead. That's it. Faith without works is dead. And in the same way, works without faith is useless. It goes hand in hand. It says it. And they forget that. They forget that part. So that's me. That's my opinion. Maybe people could say that I'm wrong for it, but that's just what I've seen in my experience. Churches, the pastors, they get too comfortable. They get too comfortable, and once they get the growth, they see that large amount of money start coming in, and they're like, oh, we could afford to pay all of our bills still and still do the same little things that we were doing. But now I want to go over here. I want to go do this. Oh, I like this car. Our car is getting old. Let's get this car. And then they get addicted to buying things and having things, and they turn from spirituality to materialism. And that happens in a lot of churches. And they forget about the people. And it's not because they got bigger. It's because their heart wasn't right to begin with. They got corrupted by what came in. That's all that is. You just need good leaders. You need good leaders that won't fall to the corruption or fall for the temptation of what comes with having a big flock of people at the end of the day.
Chris is saying the same thing as me here. Churches are a fantastic atmosphere for agorism and local decentralized communities. And you and I were talking yesterday, and so if a church has $1,000 a week and they're feeding people and it costs $10 a meal, they know they can do 100 meals a week. If all of a sudden they can only do 20 meals, everybody in the community is going to say, well, what happened to the money? But if it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and they take on more roles and more initiatives, and like you said, they start a TV ministry and they do all these big things, the money gets more convoluted, and the mission gets more convoluted. And that Liberty lady saying, Pastor Tubb, who's down here in Jacksonville, Pastor Tubb and his wife have a nonprofit, and they feed people on Jacksonville streets. Local. Also, government tried to close Tubbs Church because of permitting. Yeah, I mean,
now that's a situation where the government is being oppressive of a church. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we talked about it last time. They won't let them house people during emergencies. We've had these freezing conditions all over the country. They won't let churches house people. They won't let them have schools. They won't let them feed people. They won't let them, have people clean up for job interviews. They won't let them have a child care service. I mean, they just prevent all of these things, where, like the Pastor Tubbs mission is a perfect example for me. That's his life. That's his whole mission. That's his passion. That's what he wants to do. He does all of it. Him and his wife do all of it. And they go out there and they raise the money and they feed people and they do all of that stuff. It's a very tight organization that's very effective, where when they get bigger and bigger and bigger, they get less effective.
You want to know, bro, after we had this conversation before, when we were talking about like the churches and the religion and all of that and what they do or what they don't do, I literally had this thought, and I just had it again, of a plan really of what I want to do once this thing keeps growing the way that it is, because we're seeing steady growth with what I got going on, right? And with the Streetlights Unity movement. What I want to do personally, instead of, having just a giant thing where people come, because like you said, what if it grows so big that they come and now they can't feed everybody because, they don't have the funds because these people ain't contributing. This is where, again, It comes down to somebody that's just trying to be a good leader to people, a good representation of Christ, right? For me, this is my plan of what I want to do, what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to do it. Instead of just feeding people in the sense of having everybody come and sit down and we all made food and we sharing it, which I want to do that too, but I want to get to a point where it's so big, where it's like once a month, we take all the members of the church, all of them, right? And we go to the grocery store, literally, and just buy groceries for families. If they come, like, you got to show up. We got the bus. All right, everybody get in the bus. We making a day of this. We about to go to the grocery store. We're going to pick a grocery store that we feel we can shop at and it's beneficial. And we just go and we buy a whole bunch of groceries for people. And we drop everybody off at their house and know that they got food. You're literally feeding the flock. You're making sure that they got some food. Or have a big old refrigerator system inside the church to where you're buying food every week that the families can just come and pick up. And you put together, these things that a box of food that'll last for a week for a family, and you hand it to the family. I don't get it. Like, there should never be anybody's family that don't have food that's in the church, especially with these big churches, bro. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like it's so simple. And I'm never going to be, I ain't never going to say never, because I don't know what God got in store for me, but I'm not a preacher. I don't want to be a preacher. I don't want that responsibility, because people will be on me the same way that I'm on them, right? I don't want none of that. I just want to do good. That's all I want to do, is just do good, because that's what we're supposed to do. And if they can have that same attitude, these people, all these wealthy people even that are a part of the church, we don't want socialism within our government. That's a fact, right? We don't want none of that. But isn't the church supposed to be that? The church is supposed to be all about the social work and the handouts and all of that for the people that just don't have it. Why they don't have it, it doesn't matter, but they're here. They're getting the word of God. So let's make sure that they're eating. Let's make sure, like my church, they used to give away coats in the wintertime. They took donations for all types of coats. And anybody that didn't have a coat, if you was a kid, you knew that you could go up to the church and you could get a coat at the First Assembly of God. You knew. It's like little things like that. That's what all the churches should be doing. There should never be anybody lacking when there's a church in your community that is doing good or that is prospering. You have a big church, there's no way. I don't want to hear about the money issue. You're tax exempt as a church. You're making a lot of money with that church, however you want to look at it. Why aren't you doing for the community? And that's why I say the people got to do it. Regardless if you want to call it church, whatever. No, just good people, good Americans that care about the people. That's what we got to do. I'm going to do it. Mark my words, y'all. Mark my words, well, God willing, I'm going to do it.
And those are the kind of solutions I want to talk about. And, but like, even just in your example there, you start storing food. Now you have to be inspected by the government. And, if you wanted to just pay people in cash that show up and help you load food into cars or put the kits together, you can't do that. So now you've got to get an accountant and a payroll system. And, so the government just adds layers of complexity at every step of this, where what you want to do is you want to just take money that's already in the community, that's already been taxed, and buy some food with it and give the food to the people that want it. Like, why all the added complexity?
So you're saying that if you have a refrigerator in your church, a health inspector has to come into your church?
If the church finds out that you're distributing food, my guess would be to a certain level, you're going to be, at some point, you're going to get into the point of being inspected as some sort of food service entity. And that's why you can't have soup kitchens. And that's why you can't have, meal programs and school lunches.
I thought that's only if you're cooking the food.
No, it's any sort of food handling is covered by, the FDA and different government entities. Someone last week or 2 weeks ago was saying that they shut down the soup kitchen at their church because of some sort of permitting thing, so let me just hit a few comments here. Fernandez says the church is the people, not a building. Our body is the temple.
Amen.
Kitty Cat says that still happens, but usually in small churches. The love of money is the root of all evil. Oh, David's here. What's up, David? Hey, guys, love this series. Here's another guy that's living his faith and doing amazing things all the time. TK says this will sound crazy, but watch Jesus Revolution. Is that a Prince album or is that a movie? Watch Jesus Revolution based on a true story. False religion is worse than false government, according to the word. Religion is the biggest beast. Government's got nothing on religion. Kitty Cat says that's terrible. You're 100% right. We are the church. Occupy till he comes. The times we live in has a lot to do with that. Perversion in the world now infiltrating the church. Casey says, I love the doctrine, but not the church. You know, and again, like, I mean, I don't think church is the problem. I think that,
Me neither.
you know, all of the things pushing on the church is, you know, watering down the potential of churches and their ability to serve their members and their community. TK says you are doing it, Cash, one step at a time.
I want to be able to do it on a way bigger level, though. That's my goal. Like, I'm telling you, I want people to think that I'm insane. That's my goal, bro. That's one of my main goals, is to get so wealthy that people think that I'm crazy for what I do with it. They're gonna be like, all the conservative people, excuse me, all the conservative people that love me, I'm like, oh, he's full on socialist at this point. He's literally just giving handouts. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. That's the only reason why I want to get wealthy, is so I can bless as many people as possible. That's just because I know what it's like to be poor. Just because I know what it's like for it to not be your fault that you haven't eaten in 3-4 days because you're a second grader, you know, and your family has got other things going on. I don't ever want that to be somebody's reality, so I want to change that. That's what I want to do.
Well, that Liberty lady who's here in the comments, she works with Larry Sharp, and my favorite Larry Sharp quote is, in libertarianism, you can be as conservative or as liberal as you want to be. You just can't force it on anyone else. And the beauty of decentralization and localism is that, you know, if you want to live in a socialist community, you can. You just can't force others to participate in it, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, that's the beauty of the separation of church and state, is the churches should be allowed to choose what they want to do. And that will be based on the members and the community and the donations. So if a church wants to do outreach 24/7, that should be, you know, we should love that they're willing to do that. We should love that they're willing to help, you know, fellow Americans. Right. Yeah. Fernandez says slippery slope, more money, more problems. Yeah, David, we should have you on this at some point to talk about this.
Bring them on.
And quick plug, that Liberty lady also works with Liberty Dad, and I will be the guest on Dad Talk on Friday. It'll be right before our episode of You Aren't a Real Libertarian. So that's on at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And then our game show, You Aren't a Real Libertarian, is going to be on at 8 p.m. So if you want bad parenting advice, I'm going to be on Dad Talk for that. So just do the opposite of whatever I say on Dad Talk, and you'll be a great parent. I have 3 sons, so my youngest is leaving this year, so it's a sad year for me. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. It's a great show, and that Liberty lady's awesome as well. Yeah, so let's talk about the challenges of this, okay? So, you know, we've brought up some of the challenges of greed and churches getting too big and things like that, but the ones that I outlined are resource limitation. So churches have limited funding, a limited amount of volunteers, and that can hinder the scope of church-led initiatives. Some churches, and you've illustrated this, some churches have community trust issues. Past negative experiences may lead to skepticism towards church involvement in the community. Some people are concerned about the balancing of spiritual and social roles, and maintaining focus on spiritual missions for churches while addressing social needs can be challenging. We just talked about that, them taking on too many different roles and different initiatives can lead to them not being very good or not having the right amount of funding. Another challenge is navigating political sensitivities. Advocacy efforts may lead to conflicts with political entities or even within the congregation itself. And then the last one is sustainability of programs. How do they ensure long-term impact and the continuous effort and adaptation that needs to go on to make those programs sustainable for a long period of time? So, Kash, what do you think the challenges are for faith-based initiatives like these?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the challenges are with government regulations. I didn't know that you got to be inspected to have a kitchen. So, so I don't know.
Well,
I
why do you
guess
think the churches aren't doing more? Like, what challenges do you think prevent them from doing more?
you want me to give my personal opinion on like from what I can see, or are we talking about like a good church that really is trying?
I would go with the good church because we're trying to give a roadmap to how people can enact this in their communities.
Well, some of the challenges they face, I guess, for a good church would be a lack of the people, to help them carry out the mission. When you have an after school program, you have to have people there, to help out with the monitoring of the children, the classes. You got to have like security for if a fight or something breaks out, which does happen. I know because I was in a fight at church when I was a kid. Yeah, you need people. So I guess people would be the biggest challenge to help oversee everything to make it work.
Yeah, that's what Dawn said too.
Yeah,
Volunteers,
there you go.
having the right people there all the time, having the dedication. Kitty Cat says, I love this discussion. Each of us should be the hands and feet of Jesus. Amen. Casey said, Cash needs to learn about all the red tape in government. Well, and
No,
that's kind of, the impetus of this conversation, Casey, is that, we've talked about, what's being done, what can be done. We've talked about our faith. We've talked about, our want to help others, our, what we see as problems that could be solved in our communities, how we can, lift up other people. And as a libertarian that's involved in politics, I see the red tape in the government. And, I always see the government as the problem. And, I think, I think Cash is more, just kind of has the view of most Americans where, people prevent themselves from being successful. Well,
no, that's not it. That's not what I
okay.
believe at all. For me, it's like, especially as an American, it's like if the government, for me, like this is Cash. Let's say that I start a community center, right? And I want to feed people in my community center. And the government comes in and says, you can't feed people. And we need to do an inspection. And then they tell me that I got to shut down for whatever reason. And it's clean and everything's fine. It's not nothing like that. It's just they telling me I got to shut down. I'm going to rebel, That's just me. And then I'm going to make it public. I'm going to make it known to the public. And I'm going to show them, like, look, this isn't right what's happening. It's all we're trying to do is feed the community. And the government is trying to shut us down. But the government ain't trying to feed the community. And I'm just going to make it a public thing. I won't comply, personally. I mean, I didn't know that they did that to churches, but personally, I wouldn't comply. And then you'll get people to show up. You'll get your church congregation to show up for you and say, we got your back, because you're being a good leader. That's the way I see it. I mean, but maybe I'm just different. I did run into the Capitol, so maybe I don't have the best judgment when it comes to like authority stuff, but
I would
I
have
was
run
rebel.
into, thankfully I was 1,000 miles away. Kitty Cat says 5% of the church does all the work. One of my favorite priests always used to say that when he walked around the school at night, he'd see the same parents and they were in a different room every night. One night they were the PTA, the next night they were running Cub Scouts, the next night they were running the sports teams, but it was the same parents every night in different roles. So I agree with that a lot.
You know what kind of headlines that would be? What kind of show that would put out to the world to say, look at what they are doing to a man of faith, a man of God that is just trying to do what Jesus said to do. That'd be worth jail time for me. I would be willing to go to jail for that. I'm just saying, that is a noble cause right there. You're trying to shut me down for feeding people? That church would get a whole new kind of publicity and a whole new type of membership of faith-filled people to say, yo, this dude's out here trying to do the right thing, feeding people, and they shut him down. What? Again, my favorite thing to talk about these days is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They did not comply. They said, no, I know that this is the law of the land. You want me to bow down to this, but I can't because this goes against God. No, you want me to not feed people that are hungry. I'm sorry, I can't do that. If somebody comes to you and asks you for a fish and you give them a stone or a piece of bread and you give them a snake or however the verse goes, ain't you wrong? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give them some food. If you don't like it, government, fine. I guess you can arrest me and I'll be out. I'm sure that doesn't carry a whole lot of weight. You're not going to get, life in prison for it. So I think that's worth the charge to feed people.
David said, I got shut down for hurricane relief efforts through my church because it wasn't through FEMA. I did it anyways, but still it wasn't easy.
Good man.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfect example. Like that happens every time in Florida where, private organizations and faith-based organizations want to help people and the government spends more time telling them why they can't help people than actually helping people.
I don't get how the government can even say anything to the church about doing anything. I don't understand that. I don't get it. How can you try to dictate? So this is my religious practice. You cannot deny me my religious practice. It is a part of my religion to feed the hungry and shelter the homeless, to be there for the orphan and the widow. How can you deny me my freedom of religion? This is what is this is a requirement of my religion. They're not supposed to be able to infringe on that.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, though, is that, like, if you look at North Carolina, they were confiscating supplies from private people that were trying to help other people. They were downing helicopters, private helicopters that were bringing supplies to people that were stuck in places where no one could get to them. They were actively preventing people by force from doing things. And, I showed you examples on the last show. They bring these people to court for, having a homeless shelter, a soup kitchen. They go after them with legal action and force to stop them from doing their faith-based missions. The government doesn't want any competition, especially when it involves things that they're taking our funds to do.
I don't understand it though. They're not supposed to be able to infringe on somebody's rights to religion, bro. Like you can't do that. You can't tell a Muslim in America, right, at 5 o'clock or whatever time that they can't pull their rug out wherever they are, as long as it's a public place, and that they can't pray. You can't do that. You can't tell a Christian that is like, I'm feeding the homeless, that they can't feed the homeless. That is a part of our mission. You can't. That's a religious practice. Maybe that should be worded in the way that they, put their mission for the church. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure that would win in court. Like, you're trying to deny me. It's like telling a female Muslim that she can't wear her hijab, whatever, that she can't wear it in the public. You can't deny me to wear this. This is even in court, they can't tell you that. When I went to go get my picture taken for my license, they asked me if this was religious, right? If me wearing this is religious. And I said, well, why are you asking that? They said, because we can't legally tell you to take it off if it is. So then how could you tell me I can't feed people? If the government can't tell you to take off your do-rag because it's religious, then how the hell are you going to tell me I can't feed people as a Christian? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. See, I'm just a different type of believer, bro. I don't know. I'm a different type of believer, I guess. I'm not Christian in the sense that they try to deem it today. I would be more prone to get locked up, I guess, because I wouldn't comply. I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't comply. They better never give me a church. That's all I'm saying. I'd be that kind of pastor.
April agrees. We need to get the government out of the churches. That Liberty lady brings up a great point. Any church that's shut down or any community-based organization that's shut down, Spike Cohen, who was the Libertarian vice presidential candidate in 2020, Spike ran with Joe Jorgensen on the Libertarian ticket, has an organization called You Are the Power. And to reach out to You Are the Power, if they get shut down by the government, that's his wheelhouse. And that Liberty lady will be happy to know. I still haven't put my sticker on my laptop, so I have my You Are the Power cyberbully the government sticker right here. It's youarethepower.net is their website. So really good people. I like Spike a lot. He's an ANCAP like me. Casey says, Kash, if you are serving your community, they won't be dependent on the government. Kind of what I said, right? Like,
yeah. I wonder
Creole
if I could
Queen.
start a church.
Amen. Free. They absolutely do. B says they red tape you to death. That's what I'm saying, Casey. Kash is slowly becoming a libertarian.
I don't know about that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I just got my beliefs.
Krill Queen says they don't even let you do things on your own property. You got to have permits for everything. It's crazy. 100%.
Indianapolis. David, shoot me well, you know what? You got him on X. You're on my X, right, David? Just message me, man. I'll send you my number. I'm 2 hours away from Indianapolis.
I could send you his number too, David, since you're texting me while I'm live on the internet and you're watching me and still texting me. But
I don't know, bro. I think we need Christians, believers. I'm not going to say Christians because that's too broad, you know. Believers. We need real believers to take more of a stand in a different type of way. We need men, you know, to stand firm and not allow these kind of things to happen where if they're trying to do something good in the community and the government's saying, no, you can't do this, then we need them to stand up and say, no, we can do it. Why are you saying that we can't? Number one, okay, you got some rules and regulations. Well, this is like, they need to start just a new type of church with some new writings, right? That says, this is what we do as Christians. This is what we believe. You know how the Muslims got, we pray 5 times a day. You can't tell us to take off our hats, whatever it is, right? We could wear our kufi wherever we go, all those kind of things. We need that to be in the notes that says, yo, we are believers in Christ, and we feed the homeless. That is what we do. We take care of the elderly and the widows, and we hand out clothing to people. And this is like all the things. I think that would end it. I don't think that they could do anything. I don't think that they can, I don't think they can stop it. I'm pretty sure they can't stop it if it's worded right. If there's a will, there's a way. And if there's one thing I know is that the government speaks legalese. So if you got it written right legally, and that's what you're here to do, that's what your religion is about, they can't stop you. They can't. I mean, they couldn't stop these people from sacrificing. It was like there's laws against the way you kill animals, right? And there's these people, what was it, in like Louisiana or something, that they were doing a cult, like their thing where they were slaughtering a goat or a chicken or something, and they couldn't say nothing to them because this is their religious practice. So if they can't stop them from slaughtering a goat, they don't know what that chicken or that goat got. They could have bird flu, whatever. You can't stop them from doing something like that, handling blood and all this. But you could tell people they can't feed the homeless. Like, that doesn't make sense. It's got to be something in the wording. Just saying.
David says, exactly, get arrested, don't comply, do what's right. And Casey says, Cash, yes, civil disobedience. When it comes to food and all that, there is a crap ton of red tape. He also says, that is why you are awesome, Cash, which I agree with 100%.
Thank you.
And let's see here. Lots of good comments here. Tim is asking, we aren't supposed to pay tax, but we should pay tidings.
Tithings, he means. I mean, that's up to you. I don't. If it was up to me, I wouldn't tell people that they need to pay no tithe in the form of money. I would tell people to donate food, like canned goods. That would be, if I had a church, right? That would be the requirement. Like, yo, the 10% of your tithe is going to be the 10% of the canned goods that you got in your house. Donate those just in case people fall on hard times. That would be my thing, because that's what it was in the Bible. In Malachi, when they talk about tithing, it was never about money. And then I would offer to people, if you want to donate monetarily with money, well, you can, because it will go to the upkeep of the building. It will go to the light bill. And then anything that we have extra will help out our members if they fall on hard times. So we'll keep it stored. It's not going to go for me to go get a new suit. It's not going to go for me to get a new pair of shoes. No, it's going to go for the people when they fall on hard times. It's going to be to help each other. That's what it will be for. But that's just me. Again, my ideal of a perfect world is completely different than most. So
Fernandez said they hate you because they hated Jesus first. 100%. Krill Queen says the problem is the government picks and chooses who to allow to do what, and they always discriminate against Christianity. David says God was the fourth man with them, Cash.
all day in the furnace. Yep.
Annie says our volunteers were getting too old, fragile health, and that their food programs had to stop because of that. But so that's another one, like my example from before. Like, we should be able to pay people with cash and not have to jump through all the hoops. You know, like, if you're not like a multi-million-dollar corporation, like, I don't think there should be any government regulations or any taxes. Let me just say that up front. But pretending that's not all going to go away anytime soon. Like, I think that.
I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Terry, that's not accurate. If you could take that down, delete that comment. It's not that one. I don't know. I got to find the person that created that website. I guess they created it when I was away, but I don't have any access to that. It's not per se mine, but somebody did create it for me, and I thank them for that. I just don't know who it is. Was while I was away, so I do need to get in contact with them. The one that I got is the one that's on my Facebook. That's the one. That's the link.
I don't remember what I was saying now.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I just didn't want people to click that link and then go donate to somebody else that's not me, you know, or the organization. So, because I don't know where that's going to. I couldn't tell you. You could be giving it to some other group that's doing something completely different. I don't know anything about that.
Tim Mack said, yes, originally we paid to the church for the community, not to the government. 100%. Like, you know, Cash and I are both from Chicago. In Chicago, the church was the center of the community. The church was the center of, you know, all services and the school and all of those things. It was your faith community that was your community. And then the government overtook that, and now we're suffering because of it. So
yeah, facts. That's real.
David said
Creole.
same, and I have a church.
Oh, I got to go see his church. I go check that church out for sure. But Creole put up the right one, Fernandez. The one that Creole just put up, that's the right one. That's the correct one right there. That's cool. My Facebook. But the Creole, if you could share the link that I put up on my Facebook page, it's the first one that you showed free when we first got on. If people wanted to donate, that's how they would donate. It's through that link.
The I'm looking here. This one?
No, the one that you had pulled up when we first started the show. It's the Facebook comment, the one that automatically pins to the page.
Oh, the Facebook comment. Okay.
Yeah.
That's way back. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, I mean, you don't got to put it up right now, but I just want everybody to know that, yep, that's it right there. Creole Queen got it. That's the one.
This one?
Yep, that's the one right there.
So it's the Give Butter website. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
got it.
Thank you, Creole.
Yeah, Creole Queen put it up as well.
She's the best.
When we showed the streetlights one, I feel like I'm directing traffic on the Dan Ryan here.
Oh,
All right. So, all right, let's change topics then, since I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All right. All right. So the next topic is the church versus government welfare. So the debate between church-led charitable efforts and government welfare programs centers on what is the most effective means of supporting vulnerable populations. While both aim to alleviate poverty and provide assistance, they differ in approach, funding, and the underlying philosophy. So some examples of this are food assistance. Many churches operate food pantries, shelters, clothing drives to support the homeless and the economically disadvantaged. Financial assistance and financial aid. Churches often provide direct financial assistance to individuals facing economic hardships, offering a personalized approach compared to standard government aid. And then advocacy and counseling. Religious organizations engage in advocacy efforts to address systemic issues such as poverty, inequality, and social justice, complementing or even challenging government welfare policies. So some important stats on this is a study found that a typical church provides financial support, volunteers, space, and in-kind donations to 6 community programs each year. In 2012, 57% of congregations had a group that assesses community needs, which was a 54% increase from 1998. So those are growing. While under 40% of Americans attend church services weekly, 65% of foster parents do, indicating a significant involvement of religious individuals in child welfare. The number of welfare recipients in the United States has grown over time, with concerns that taxpayer-funded government assistance programs may be doing more harm than good. Typically, even in countries with highly religious populations, individuals on average give no more than 2% of their income to the church, which can limit the scope of church-led welfare initiatives. So, some strategies for empowerment. I mentioned community needs assessments. Churches can conduct assessments to identify specific local needs and tailor their services accordingly. Volunteer mobilization. We talked about how hard it is to get volunteers, but leveraging that was a politics slip up there. Leveraging congregational volunteers can enhance service delivery and foster a sense of community ownership. Resource partnerships, collaborating with other nonprofits and businesses can expand the reach and effectiveness of church-led welfare programs. We talked about skill development workshops, offering training and job skills, financial literacy, and other areas that can empower people and lift them up and bring them closer to self-sufficiency. And then finally, advocacy for policy change. Churches can use their platforms to advocate for systemic changes that address root causes of poverty and inequality. What do you think from those different strategies? What jumps out at you there, Kash?
Well, I mean, the job training, that should be one, like, that's big, right? And to take it back to if I had a church, right? If I was the leader of a church, one of the main things that I would advocate for, and my members would be okay with helping to fund, right, would be that kind of ecosystem. And it would be, we're going to provide job training, right, for a specific skill. What are you good at, right? But one thing that we will offer will be construction, whether that be demolition, building houses, or installing windows, or insulation, or roofing, whatever it is, right? Plumbing, all of that. The members of the church are people that are familiar with these skills in my ideal world, right? That have these skills. Maybe some of them even have companies. I got brothers that own these kind of companies. So ideally, they would be members of my church. And people are always looking for help in the construction field. So if you provide a member that is not employed with this job training for this specific job, say, look, we're going to train you here, right? You're going to complete this program. And upon completion, we're going to get you a job, because we're partnered up with brother so-and-so over here. He owns this business and he's always looking for help. And you see how you do. If you do good, you keep the job. If you like it, you stay, and you could grow. You're earning a fair wage. What you do with your money is up to you. I'm not requiring you to pay me for this. I'm not requiring you to tithe to the church monetarily. But if you do want to contribute to the church after you find some success where you're at, well, then boom, you could do that. Bethany, subscription service on X. I don't know anything about it. But YouTube, this is my baby. So, but yeah, it would be that. And it would be that across the board. So you have the person that owns a construction company, or this person over here that owns a plumbing company, or this person over here that owns a landscaping company, and they're always looking for help. Okay, well, here we got people over here that need jobs and that want to work. So let's teach them how to do it. And then would you be willing to give them a chance at your job? And you have this perfect little ecosystem. And I don't understand how that's not the case at the church. How is there people and especially, I got to go back to these mega churches. These mega churches, there's people that are business owners, like big business owners in some of the churches. Like you go to Family Christian Center, all the heavy hitters is at Family Christian Center, all of them. How is there people that go there that don't have a job? I don't understand it. I don't get it. That's what I would change. I would say that is the biggest one for me, is the job creation, like helping people get skills to be able to go out. And even if they don't get hired by somebody, now they have a skill. Now you know how to work on a car because you've been working on cars here at the church. You know, you've been practicing here. We've been working with so-and-so. We do that here. Or you learn how to install windows. Whatever it is, you got a new skill so you could go out there and do it and offer your work to somebody. Offer your skill to somebody. So that's me. Eventually, though, there's just something. These are things that are in the back of my mind, bro. These are plans of mine that I don't talk about a lot. That I have, that I want to implement one day. I'm going to. You're muted.
Sorry. The challenge there is the government, right? So minimum wage, for example, when you have something like minimum wage, if you have somebody that has no job skills at all, why would somebody take a risk on that person when they have to pay minimum wage? And if they fire them, they have to pay, they have to pay into the unemployment and all of that. Like, if the church says this company is willing to train people that have no skills, but it doesn't pay $15 an hour or whatever minimum wage is, that's good enough for me, because
yeah, that's cool.
But like, so the government gets in the way of that, like if you have no job prospects at all and somebody's willing to pay you $8 an hour and teach you how to do something so you could become a valuable person, like that to me is a decision the individual should make. And then on top of that, all of the regulations and all of that around the business, like you should just be able to come and go as you want and take a job if you want it, and, quit if you want, and all of that. And churches can monitor if they think somebody's taking advantage of people, they won't send any more people there. But if they have a great need for people for jobs in their community and somebody's willing to do it and it's not minimum wage, they should do that. And, all the paperwork and all that stuff that goes to it. So it's just, they just put all of these barriers into it where, like your food pantry idea, you should be able to just pay people cash or pay them in food or, pay them in housing or however you want to pay them. It shouldn't have to meet a government regulation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. That's a personal, I guess, issues that people have with the government on minimum wage, but it stands that that's what it is right now. That's just what it is. So I feel you, but for me, the way to correct that situation would, again, create your own ecosystem. Now, that's for me. That's what my plan is. I ain't worried about all that. If we got people that own a business, obviously, if you own a business, you're paying minimum wage regardless or more. Most construction, anybody in the construction field knows you're making way more than minimum wage, and that's even as a helper. So that'll be the go-to for me is construction. Like, we're builders, that's the way that I would run it. And, maybe even have that part of the church that is this person that's a member of the church. He's got this business. Anybody need anything built? We going through right here. We're keeping everything in house. We're shopping with our members and encouraging people to start businesses. Maybe the person that's in your congregation don't want a job. Maybe he wants to start a business. Well, we're going to help you do that then. What are you good at? Oh, you're an artist? Okay, well, let's start creating some art. We got the art. Like, that's the stuff that I feel we should be encouraging. Business creation, like getting people to get out there, because when it's yours, when you have a business and it's yours, you're going to do everything that you can to make it successful. I seen that with my cousin. When he went down to Florida and started his fencing company, he did everything in his power to make it successful because it was his, something that he could be proud of. And he did. He's got one of the most successful fencing companies in Florida. So, yeah, I mean, that's me. That's the solution. I don't care about whatever we will work around whatever the government got going on. We can work around all of that. That's going to be there. I know that with man, it may seem impossible, but with God, all things is possible. And if the whole goal of this, we're at church. Can't forget that. We're at church. We're focused on creating kingdom people that are just trying to do right in the world. I feel that God is going to see that personally. God will be like, yo, that's what I'm talking about. They're trying. They get it. They're living right. They're looking out for each other. When they congregate, it's all about God. It's not about the flashy. No, it's about God. They're having a good time with each other, and they're making the world better that they live in. And that's what it's about. So I don't care what the government got going on. I don't care. We're going to do what we're going to do. That's it.
So many home-based businesses that were staples of communities in the past have been completely wiped out by government regulations, like baking in your home and, selling the eggs from your chicken or, selling produce. All of those things have been wiped out by government regulations. You need, licenses, and you need inspections, and you need to follow regulations and file paperwork and, all of these things. And, so it's, my mission is to talk about those things because, Trump's trying to do that now. Like, his first term, he removed 2 regulations for every new regulation. Like, I would love to see him just do a sweeping, Vivek said, let's cut too much and then find out we cut too much and then add it back instead of, cut a little and then cut a little and then cut a little. Trump only has less than 4 years. Cut them all. Cut all of the small business regulations and find out what the problem is, because there's thousands and thousands of them. And, find out what happens. People are struggling right now. They need all of the opportunity they can get. And, going slowly is not going to help us.
Yeah. But you see that comment from Jim Bob? I'm a heavy equipment and heavy diesel mechanic. I've offered to teach many young men over the last 4 years since COVID-19. Not one of them has taken me up on it yet. And that's what I'm talking about right there. That's exactly what I mean. So knowing that, right? I know Jim Bob. Let's say Jim Bob lives by me. And I'm like, all right, bet, Jim Bob, I know this about you. Cool. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let as many people as I know about what you do and what you're offering, the service that you're offering to train young people, right? And even now, like right now, knowing that about him, I'm going to reach out to Jim Bob after this and see where he's located at, because people from all over follow me. So maybe this can be beneficial to somebody that wants to learn. Maybe somebody's got a kid that they need a mentor to teach them. This is a trade that you can learn that's going to help you for the rest of your life. But that's what it takes. Imagine if you had everybody on the same page like that, in the same spot. Like, we're all believers and we come here to congregate. This is where we have our church service at. But afterwards, and even throughout the week, like, this is our community. We kicking it. This is my people. I know that if I want to go and hang out over here at Jim Bob's house, Jim Bob's cool because we go to the same church, and Jim Bob's all about the people, and Jim Bob works and all whatever. And it's like, that's what it's supposed to be with the church. You're supposed to know, like, yo, these are my people. I don't have a problem knowing that if I know that when I go over to their house, there's not going to be some things that I disagree with there, because we both got the same kind of faith and we both follow the same guideline, which is the Bible. We know what we can and cannot do. We got our rules right here. So I know Jim Bob's good. And it's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be a community where, you know, I could go and kick it with bro. And I know if I send somebody to bro, he's going to do right with him. You know, that's the way it's supposed to be. So in Oregon, all right, I'm gonna put that out. I'm gonna holler at you when we're done here, Jim Bob. I'm gonna reach out, and I'll just put the word out on all my social media sites if anybody in Oregon. But yeah, that's my ideas, bro. That I'm telling you, you'll see. It might not right now. It's just a vision in my head that I can see perfect. Like, I could see it clear as day working out. Right. Other people probably think I'm out of my mind. Like, this dude's crazy. He's never gonna achieve it. But I will. All the things that I'm talking about that I want to implement one way or the other, it might take forever. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I promise you I'm going to get there. And then I'm going to show you. I'm just going to lead by example, like everybody should.
TK says that's what Mike Rowe promotes. I also wanted to mention that Jim Bob's a great guy. Really, really like him a lot. Krill Queen says, absolute Cash. Agree with that too. Casey also agrees with you, Cash. You notice nobody ever agrees with me? Well, every once in a while, I guess.
I mean, but you're moderating. You're not really giving a point. You're asking questions.
What are you talking about? I was advocating for getting rid of the entire damn government and letting the churches handle it. I made boldest statement out of everybody.
I just agree with you. That's right, Free. You're right. I agree with you, bro.
Thank you. I want to get the government out of the way and let guys like you take charge, you know.
And I want to say thank you for that the new member to the channel. I just seen that scroll by and I didn't say thank you to. I believe it's Bethany Taylor. Thank you for becoming a member of my channel. I appreciate it.
I thought I starred that, and now I don't see it. Here it is. Thank you, Bethany.
I appreciate
and somebody else asked, I started that too. Where is it? It was Bethany. Why don't you have a subscription service on X? She doesn't want to give her money to YouTube. Like, may I handle this one, Cash?
Yes, go ahead.
May I handle this one? And Creole Queen is going to be very proud of me because it proves that I've been listening and following her amazing skills and watching what she does. And if you do the PayPal, there is no fee taken out, right?
That's true.
The PayPal is a good one. And he also has the Cash App. I don't see that we might have moved the PayPal one, but here's
just
the
so
Cash App.
Everybody knows it's not a requirement. You don't have to give me anything. I appreciate all the help that does get sent. You know, thank you for that. But it's not a requirement, but it is appreciated. You know, because I do put a lot of work into this. This is what I do. You know, if you feel so inclined, you can. And I appreciate you 100%, but it's not a requirement. But thank you for the people that do. I see it every once in a while. I look at my phone and I see somebody that I see from on here done sent me $10, $20. I'm like, yo, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it. New York Rican. She be every once in a while, I look at my phone, it's $5 from New York Rican, $10, and then a couple other people hit the PayPal, and I'm like, yo, thank you, I appreciate it. And it'd be at the right times too. I'll be in a situation, man. And then I'll look down at my phone. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you. But yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Angela agrees with me. She's listening to me, Cash, where apparently you're not listening to me. So
I agree with you, Free. I agree with you right now. I wasn't listening.
Yeah. Jay Rivs wants the Cash Casey 2028 ticket. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
Casey says we need to get you monetized.
X is rough. I've been fighting it. I've been trying to do my thing on there, but it's a little rough, man.
I qualified for monetization. I put in my application. It sat there for 8 months. They changed one requirement on the monetization, deleted all the applications, and now I have to re-meet the requirements all over again. So
no.
Oh, here's the PayPal.
I was on here one night, bro, doing a live stream talking about the protests in Chicago, and this brother Wrigley Rob, this man donated $500 on a super chat. I was shocked. It's like, whoa. And then he came back another time right after that and donated $400 to the super chat. And I was shocked again. I'm like, brother, why are you doing? He goes, man, I just really like your content, bro. I'm like, yo, thank you, bro. But that's crazy. But I think he's rich, so he doesn't care. He's just like, it's not that. I was going to spend this anyway. I was like, all right, bro, I'm not going to argue with you. Thank you.
See, Creole Queen's listening to me. I've been following your example, Creole Queen. I'm getting better at this. So I appreciate that compliment. So she's listening, Cash. Creole Queen is awesome.
Yeah.
We have some awesome ladies. Terry, Creole Queen, B. We have some amazing people
Leanne
helping us out.
Yeah.
Look at now. See, all I got to do is say Cash isn't listening and nobody agrees with me. And then I get some props. I agree with Free too. By the way, I am now a libertarian. Awesome, Kitty Cat. Welcome. We do a lot of stuff. You can see under my articles on X, you can see all of our shows. We do a couple different libertarian-based shows. And if you haven't seen the game show, that's a good time. So You Aren't a Libertarian. You Aren't a Real Libertarian is on Friday at 8 p.m. So that'd be fun. Danny says, same here. I'm a motorcycle tech and I have a shop and I can't find younger guys that want to learn. I still have that bike for AB here in Oklahoma.
Danny's dope. I met him when I went to Oklahoma for the event that we went to out there. And he's dope, bro. My man is dope. Yeah. I appreciate you, Danny.
Well, I think part of the problem, we talk about inflation, we talk about grocery costs and stuff like that. But like, I've noticed it with my kids where I've said, like my old man, you'd say, go mow the lawn for, a few bucks or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, sweet. A few bucks. Like I go to the movie, I get a piece of pizza afterwards, like you could do something with that. Like my kids, I'd say like, go mow the lawn. I'll give you $20. And they'd be like, a video game costs $65. What am I going to do with $20? I'm not mowing the lawn 4 times to go buy a video game. And that's the problem with the government interference. All this stuff is, $20 is a lot of money to pay somebody to do something when you're living paycheck to paycheck and raising a family and stuff like that.
Thanks.
When the person you're giving the $20 to can't do anything with it, we've created an economy that's unsustainable. And the government's like, well, you know what? We'll do more regulations. We'll make more rules. We'll make minimum wage go up. We'll make, healthcare costs go up. We'll get all of these like super high. And, at what point do we say stop the insanity and get them to end all of it? That's my problem with partisan politics. And I'm very hopeful that Trump is bucking the system here. He did it a little bit in his first term, but not a ton.
Seems like
he's done some great stuff so far.
Yeah.
But, like we just need to get rid of it. Like, don't pause it. Don't say you're going to do it. Like Vivek said, cut too much, find out you cut too much, add back in what you need to add back in. Like when you're spending $7 trillion and you're $36 trillion in debt, cut too much and then figure it out from there. So
I feel you. I agree. I mean, it's rough, bro, when you really think about it, right? it's rough for us, because we're the people. We can complain, you know, but the way that we work over here in America is we have elected officials that are supposed to fight for the things that we all believe in, you know. And I guess that's where the democracy part comes into play, because we vote for them and they're supposed to listen to us, but they don't. They don't listen to the people. They get in the office, and the people that got them elected in the office in the first place, they end up sitting there for so long that the new constituents that they have didn't even vote for them, and they don't even care to vote anymore. So they don't go and vote in the local elections, or when there's a Senate race, or when there's a congressman that needs to be voted on. And I feel that's something that we need to bring more attention to. And this needs to be one of the main issues. So that way it is put on notice, like, okay, we want government to take a back seat when it comes to how the church operates. We need them to take a back seat so that we can help out in the community where they're failing. They're failing horribly. And that needs to be a stance. So maybe that's something that we need to consider, petitioning for this midterm that's coming up, man, here in the next, 2 years, year and some months, or whatever.
But that was my eureka moment when we were talking about, faith and freedom, was if we could get the faith-based communities and the faith-based organizations to all stand up to the government and say enough is enough. And instead, in the Chicago churches, they tell you, vote Democrat, vote Democrat, vote Democrat. We need to break that cycle. And if they could say, empower the people, not the government, and fight that fight instead of mobilizing voters for the Democrats, what are the possibilities? Because one man can't do something, or one woman can't do something. But if you get a whole congregation of people to, rally against their alder person or their mayor or whoever it is, that's where change happens.
Yeah, I agree. But again, you run into them issues of, is the person running the church really there to be a pastor? Because this isn't even a conspiracy anymore at this point. We know that they put pastors in place. Like, they put pastors in position. Some of the pastors that people got are like CIA operatives, you know what I'm saying? That are literally there just to gain intel on people and report them, especially in impoverished communities and gang communities, where you think you got this pastor that's just, from the same walk of life as this person was here literally to report on you, get you to come to church, and then they telling the police and everybody what you got going on. They don't care about your soul. They don't care about none of that. They're there literally to report on you. That is a real thing, So when you think about it, you got to ask, okay, well then, if we're going to have that kind of movement where people buck inside the church and they're standing up, and this is the voter issues that we're worried about, you got to make sure that you got somebody that even be willing to, because it's not that they're a diehard Democrat. It's that they're a plant. They're not there for the word of God, to give you the word of God in the first place. They're there to keep you enslaved to the system that is set in place. So that's why they don't have them programs that we talk about. That's why you don't see them out there doing gang prevention, stop the shootings. You don't see the churches marching in the street for the kid that just got shot 2 blocks over after church. You know what I'm saying? They don't do it because they're a part of it. And I know people don't want to hear that, but that is a fact. Ask some of the people in Chicago about some of these churches, bro. Ask them about what these pastors are really about, and they'll tell you. It's known. So, and then it also contributes to the decline in church. People finding out all these things, like you can't even trust your pastor no more. It used to be you couldn't trust him around your wife. Now it's like you can't trust him because he's going to turn you into the police. He's telling the police every single thing that you got going on, given you shouldn't be doing the things that you're doing, but you've been raised wrong your whole life. So instead of me presenting you with an opportunity to change your life, no, I'm going to let you do what you do, act like your friend, and report everything to the police so they can lock you up. It's so much. This is why I said we need new men that ain't went to no seminary schools, that ain't, went to the Moody Bible College or did any of that. They just read that word and they come from the streets and they know what it means to change their lives. We need them kind of men. We need men that have worked hard their whole life. Maybe ain't never had no gang experience, but they worked hard their whole life, or they grew up with good parents and they never did anything other than worked. And they can instill that into the kids in their area, to where say, hey, this is what's required to become, a productive member in society. And this is what's required for you to have a right standing with God, and then promote that. And then everybody take a stand, say, oh, we agree on this stuff right here, bro. We need hard work. We need less crime. We need less drugs. and we stand on that. But hey, this is where we are right now. So until everybody we can get on one accord to take these kind of stands, and it's just, blowing air in the wind.
That Liberty lady said, my friend works for a Christian radio station here in Jacksonville. They are a nonprofit. Once they pay employees and carrying costs, the rest of any income from advertisers gets donated to local charities. Yeah, we should make that easier, not harder, is really my point. That's an opinion, Kash, if you're keeping score over there. They should make that easier, not harder. They should empower groups like that. I'm going to start banging my fist on the desk when I'm making a point, Kash, just so you know.
Gotcha.
I am in this to win it, man.
Duly
I want to
noted.
empower these people. I want to make this easier. I want to lift these people up. I want to take every idea, try it out, see what makes humanity better, man. And I think the churches have the power to do that, because maybe it's not the pastor, maybe it's not the slick suit wearing folks, that run the church, but maybe it's a whisper campaign at the potluck dinner where you just say, why are we voting for these people? They shut down our soup kitchen. They're not educating our kids. They don't even fix the roads. The crime is up, drug use is up, imprisonment is up. Everything's getting worse. Every single cost, insurance cost, healthcare, cars. A new car is $60,000. I mean, my first car was like $2,000.
I've never done it. I've never bought a brand new car. I've refused to, because I knew at a young age.
I bought one. I bought a minivan.
Bro, I've never even taken a car note. Every car I've had when I was growing up is because I bought them. I'm like, I'm not doing a car note. It's all a scam. Everything's a scam to me, So I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not paying interest. Just let me pay for it outright and just get the cars. I ain't got to worry about it later. I don't want nobody taking my stuff.
Did you pay all the taxes you had to pay when you bought it?
Yeah, I did that. But bro,
I got to teach you a couple things about that.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No, man. When we talk about this kind of stuff, bro, I ain't gonna lie. It fires me up, bro. It makes me excited, because I care about the community. I do. I care about the community, all the communities in this country. I really, honestly, I care about the world. I do. I hate to see the world in the state that it's in, but more so my community, my country. I hate seeing people struggle. It really bothers me to see churches not doing their job. It does. It bothers me to no end. I hate seeing so many churches in a community and then there be so much poverty and so much crime and so much homeless. I drive down the street over here and I see homeless people out there all the time begging for money, giving. Maybe they're not hungry. Maybe they just drug addicts. That could be the case too. But I think about the church. It's like, how many of the church members around here stopped to tell them, yo, we got this church over here, man, and we can help you. Help them get cleaned up. Help them get on their feet. Find out what's troubling them and tell them we got a cure. We got a cure for everything that's struggling, that's in you right now, that's keeping you away from living your best life. And the cure we got is Christ. And then show them through their actions like, yo, we care. Now we can't give you no money. We can't do that because we know you got a drug problem. All right. And until you're willing to change that, we can't give you anything monetarily, but we can make sure that you don't go hungry out here every day. And we're going to be praying for you to turn your life around. And we're going to show up to make sure that you eat. That should be the thing. But it's not. I talk to them. I stop and holler at them. I buy food for them. And I'm not rich at all, bro. I barely make it. All y'all to think I'm rich out here, I promise you I'm not. I make it. I'm good. But every time I do got a little extra and I know all my bills is paid and my kids don't need nothing, yeah, I don't mind stopping and grabbing some food to give that food to that person that's hungry, even though I know that they probably a drug addict and they was at that hotel and this woman over here turning tricks or whatever it is. That's between them and God. I know it felt on my heart that I needed to give them some food. So that's what I do. How come everybody ain't doing that? That's it.
Tim makes some good points here. If it comes from the church, it will bring people to God. If it comes from the government, people will worship the government instead.
Facts.
Yep. Government had this same discussion 100 years ago, but the opposite. They chose to get rid of God to get power, control, and money. 100%. That's kind of what I'm saying is like they're threatened by faith-based organizations. They're threatened by the competition. I think Creole Queen said earlier, they don't want to see somebody do it better than them and make them look bad, right? Jim Bob says most new cars and trucks are garbage. He also says he's known a couple girls named Charity and he wouldn't give them a dime. Paranormal Triage said a cult church has taken over our town and now sits on our boards and they own us now. You realize how much power the government has when it goes awry, right? And that's why when we talk about decentralized power, we're talking about spreading it out so thin that nobody can take over one part of it and ruin your life, right? Like, I moved from Illinois to Florida because I did not like the way that Illinois was run. We should have that opportunity in every aspect of our life. I should be able to move a block over and live in a different community if I want to, with different rules and different financial structures and different power structures and all of that. Leanne's here. Welcome, Leanne.
Even if people even if people aren't giving to the poor, right? Because that there is some dangers with that comes with that. Like I wouldn't recommend no woman to walk up to no homeless man and try to give him some food. I'm not telling y'all to do that. Don't do that, in fact. Because you never know with people. Some people are really messed up and they're there for a reason. They put themselves in that situation and they're there suffering in that situation for a reason. But I'll say this. The church door should never close. The church door should never close, man. And I'm not talking about the smaller churches that can't afford to keep the doors open all the time. I'm talking about these mega churches, these big places, and there's a lot of them all over the country. The door should never close. They should have a spot for them people. They should offer, when you're that big, when you got that big of a church, you should offer drug counseling because you have members that used to be addicts. You should have gang outreach because there are plenty of brothers that come from the streets that will be willing to do it. It's like we can meet the needs. Of all the mega churches, just using the mega churches, I forget the direct number, but if all the mega churches came together in America and put their money together, they would literally be able to end homelessness and hunger in this country. That's a fact. And keep their bills paid. That's crazy to me, bro. That is insanity. You're that rich that y'all could literally stop hunger in America and end homelessness. How is that not a thing? And how do people not say anything about it? How do people go to their churches? And it's a rhetorical question. I know why they go to their churches. It's written in the Bible why they go to their churches, because people have cleaved on to a doctrine that pleases their itching ears. Because people have become bigger lovers of money and bigger boasters of themselves than they ever had love for God. That's why. So even though I'm complaining about these things, it says that this is what the world was going to be like. It says it in there. Literally a third of the earth is going to starve. Like many places are going to, 3,000 people are going to die in an earthquake at one time. Like it's written, says that it's going to be bad. And these are just the beginning of birth pangs, So, but you notice in the Bible what it never tells you to do during them times. It never tells you to stop being who you are. And that's why I guess I got the mind that I got. That's why I'm trying to do the thing. He's in my man, Zach. Yo, don't get me started. Don't get me started on that. And it's not the Jews. It's the Talmudists.
I don't want to go there.
He just threw me off with that comment. But No, man, real talk. It never tells you to stop being who you are, bro. It never tells that. It doesn't say it. It doesn't say it. It doesn't say when all these bad things start happening, you can stop. You can stop doing what you're supposed to do. It doesn't say it, but that's where we're at. Like, people have stopped. The pastors have stopped. The deacons have stopped. Everybody has stopped. That can make a change. Like, it's crazy. And I don't even know, it's like, you got all the politicians too, right? The politicians that claim to be faith-filled, right? They say that they're Christians. How come they don't pass laws that are helpful to their church? You ever notice that? Is that not odd to you, Free? That's odd to me. Like, I've never seen a bill come through to help the church, but they're so faith-filled. I don't know. It's just things that just make me go, that's all.
Well, and I would say the opposite is really the case. You know, a lot of these take control away from the communities, the faith-based communities, small businesses, individual autonomy, your ability to make decisions for yourself. You know, we saw it time and time again during the COVID shutdowns. All of these things have happened, you know, and every single one of it is give us more power, we'll fix it. Give us more money, we'll fix it. We'll spend more money and fix it. And it never works. Comments are blowing up. An American Airlines flight just collided with a police helicopter in DC. Looks bad.
That sucks. Hope everybody's all right. But nah, bro. I mean, I hear you, right? But that's not what I mean. I mean, like, what we're talking about with, like, the regulations, the cutting through the red tape deal. I'm sure if we're talking about these things, then they already know about these things too. But it's not an issue to them, is my thing. Like, why would there ever be anything to stop you from feeding homeless people? That blows my mind. I don't get that. I don't get it. So where are all these politicians that are faith-filled to say, hey, this is too far, we can't do this? They're literally trying to fit. It's because, again, I feel that they've sided with the system. That's it. It's like you said, if they can't be dependent upon the church, then they'll be dependent upon the government. They can't worship God at church, and they're going to worship the government. Like that. That's, you know.
Well, they pretend it's for, you know, safety and sanitation and things like that. But if you follow any of this whatsoever, you know it's about money and control. Money and control. You know, they don't want local foods in the school cafeterias. They want corporate foods in the school cafeterias. You know, they don't want to feed them healthy foods because that's much harder and you don't get kickbacks from local farms, right? But if you get, you know, Cisco in there providing your food and microwaving it all, you get kickbacks on that, right? That's why they put Pepsi machines in these schools. You know, Pepsi doesn't have, you know, a healthy pop that I know about, you know, but they get money from that and they make money off of it, and they care about money and power more than they care about you, more than they care about the kids, more than they care about the churches, any of them.
So let me ask you something then, Free. So let's say that there's a church and they own acres, right? And on their church property, they got animals. Like, they got a whole farm, right? Full of animals. And then they got trees with a whole bunch of fruit, and then they got a whole thing of corn, like that just grows. And they got all these things. So they wouldn't be able to just give, like, if they slaughtered an animal, right, a cow, and they made the, you know, patties or whatever, they wouldn't be able to just give that food away, or they wouldn't be able to give away a bushel of corn, or they can't just give it away without some kind of regulation.
Not only that, but do you know how much food they throw away? They purposely throw food away. And so, yeah, like, you can't give the food away. Stores can't give expired food away. Manufacturers can't give food away. Like, I mean, they try to prevent us from feeding people at every step of the way. And like you were saying about, like, the mega churches being able to, solve homelessness and feed the hungry and all of that. Like we could do that off of our waste, like if we just organized it better, if we put Terry in charge of it, all that waste to be, feeding the hungry, but like the government saying, no, like, all these regulations, you have to just throw it away and have a huge amount of waste. Right. So yeah, I mean, they prevent you from doing good things, and they prevent more good things from happening than they provide by far.
I gotta look into that. That's insane. That just throws off the vision. I've been saying this since 2020 that I wanted to have the Streetlights Community Center, right, and have a big old farm, have a lake stocked with fish, have just everything, a community garden, all of that, and just let people come and fish. You take the fish home, you can eat the fish, pick whatever vegetables you want and take them home, you can eat them. Like that's so can they do that? Like if I'm not giving it to them, but I got the property, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, you just take what you want. Could I do that?
You're from Chicago, so you should know that the answer is always until you piss off the wrong person. If your alderman has a fish farm and you're giving away free fish, you're going to have probably a SWAT team at your farm, within the first week, so it's like, until you get on their radar, you can do some stuff. But once you get on their radar and you piss off McDonald's or, the schools or, whatever, like then all of a sudden you're going to have a microscope on you. You're going to have a spotlight on you. You'll get audited, you'll get rated, you'll get inspectors,
Mama Dawn says yes. It's good.
I mean, I guarantee you'll hit a point that they'll say, you're a food distributor, you need to be inspected by the FDA or the USDA or whatever it is, like guaranteed.
Even if it's a private property, where I'm like, no, I just let people come on my property and, if they pick an apple, they can take an apple. I don't care.
Well, let's put it in a different context. If two people are shooting guns on a property, that's now a militia, and they can confiscate all of the property on that. They can confiscate everything on that property, the house, the cars, the personal goods, all of those things, because you're in a militia. What? I don't think two people firing guns on a property is a militia.
That's crazy, bro. You're making
really so a community garden, you probably have to have the right permits. You have to probably follow some sort of guidelines or standards or inspections. It all depends on where you live and how free they are, right? Like some places
this doesn't make
won't
sense
even allow
to
you
me,
to have
bro.
a community garden. Like we had a thing in Chicago. We had a thing in Chicago where they wanted to turn the vacant lots into community gardens. They wouldn't let them.
But here's a crazy thing though. So you're telling me that as long as I go get a permit, right, to go hunting, that I could go into the wild where hunting is permitted and slaughter an animal back at my house, and I can eat the animal, but I can't let people pick a fruit out of the garden, like out of the tree that's on my property. But you don't know if this animal is sick. You don't know if this animal is going to harm me. You're allowing me to do it because I had to pay for the hunting license. So because I paid for the hunting license, I'm cool. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. It's backwards.
Government doesn't make sense. That's really start there. Start there. Government doesn't make sense.
Hey, Free. I agree, Free. Yeah, I second that, Free. There you go.
And I didn't even have to bang on the desk. Government doesn't make sense, Kash.
Yeah, it doesn't, dog. It doesn't. In some instances, it makes zero sense. It really doesn't.
I love watching it connect for you because you're talking and then all of a sudden, because you bought a license, they'll let you do stuff. They're not, that license isn't protecting you. That license sure as heck isn't protecting the animal. What's the license for? Why? We have this discussion in Florida all the time. Why do I need a permit to go catch a fish in the Gulf of America and feed my family? Right? Why do I need a permit for that? That's caveman level type stuff. Like why
That's
when
insane.
did government regulation need to come into fishing?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either. I've never understood a fishing license. I'm like, wait, who the hell owns the water? For them to tell me I gotta have a fishing license to be able to fish here. What is so dangerous about this pole? Like, I don't get it. Why do you need to? I need to register my fishing pole? Like, what's going on? I don't get it. And it's all literally, it's just about control. As at the end of the day, it's about control and them finding a way to be in your pocket. And then who gets that money? Like, who? What are you doing with that? But does that money go into what? Taking care of the fish in the water? I'm confused. Tell me why? What's this money going for? Why do you need my money for a fishing license?
It
I'm
goes
really
to
questioning
fishing
that
and
now.
wildlife, where they down here they say they refurbish the mangroves for the ecological benefit for the wildlife and the sea life. And
Oh, okay. Well,
Bethany's spot
if
on
that's
here.
true, then I'm cool with that. If that's cool, I mean, if that is true and they really are doing that, well, then I'm all right with that. Then I can get with that
But
because that
that should
allows
be
you to be able to fish.
voluntary. That should be voluntary. The people that, when it's rich people that want a nice beach, they pay for it themselves. Like the government's inefficient at all of these things. Let me hit this point though. Like I was watching Casey's live stream of Trump's press conference or his town hall meeting in California, which was hysterical. Go back and watch Casey's live stream of that if you get a chance. But Trump said like two awesome things. One, he said, well, who's the biggest group of lobbyists? Lawyers by far, right? So they make it everything require a lawyer. The laws are complex, the regulations are complex, complying is complex. You need a lawyer, you need an accountant, you need all these things, right? And then the other thing he said, the insurance industry is, one of the worst industries in the country. And I love that he said that because nobody ever points out those two things. And Bethany hit it here. Insurance is the biggest and government-backed. It's the biggest government-backed Ponzi scheme, 100%, like those people in California that pay homeowners insurance, but it doesn't cover fire. Like what does it cover? Like if your house like falls over, due to negligence, like if it's not covered by a natural disaster, what are you covering your house for? Like,
I never understood insurance either. Like some doctors won't even see you if you don't have insurance. I don't get that. I don't know if I can afford to pay you right now, because I've done that, and some doctors obviously accepted it. Like my doctor's visit was $75 for the office visit, right? And then I paid cash for my prescription. This was back in like 2016, something like that. And I was cool with that. It's like, that works. That's fair. You know what I'm saying? And I paid for all my own stuff. I ain't got to worry about nothing. But some doctors now, like, they won't even see you. I tried to go to the dentist. I haven't had my teeth cleaned since I came home from prison, right? I haven't had a teeth cleaning in 4 years now. And my teeth got to be cleaned. So I brush them a lot, right? But when I go to the dentist, I asked them, I said, well, how much would this cost if I just wanted to get a teeth cleaning? They said, well, what's your insurance? I said, I don't have insurance. They said, oh, we can't see you. What? You can't see me because I don't got dental insurance? That doesn't make sense at all. Why can't I just pay cash? Oh, we just don't do that here. Why? What? So then I got another question. Are the doctors and dentists and all of that in cahoots with the insurance companies? Because that would be the only reason why a doctor wouldn't want to see you. If you didn't have insurance, but you could get the money right now, like what, are they getting more money from the insurance company? Or maybe it's like an incentivization. You got to have insurance to go to this doctor. I don't know. My mind is working right now, but I feel like it's just all one big scam.
let's hit a couple comments. We're at time here. Casey said exactly free. The government doesn't make sense. And Bethany said, look at the case of in Philadelphia, look at the case in Pennsylvania against the Amish farmer from this summer. Terry said more than 2 tons of food a year from schools alone is thrown away. Yeah. Yeah. The Amish one, you know, they were building tiny houses. They built them at the cost of like $25,000 each. They built like 50 of them in a weekend, and the government like told them they had to stop. Like they
That's
wanted to
crazy,
house people, raise the money themselves, built the houses in an incredibly fast and efficient way. And they said, no, you can't do that. We'd rather have homeless people.
That's
You know?
crazy. That
And
is
you ask a homeless
insane.
person who's living under a sheet of plastic, you know, would you take the chance of living in this if it's not up to our building code? I bet you they'd say, yeah.
Who the hell is questioning the Amish's building code? Like they are the builders. Like straight. I think Bob the Builder's even Amish. Like they're good.
Mhm.
They're good, bruh. That's crazy. That's insane.
Perfect. You have anything you want to add in closing here? We're at time.
No, I think I'm good. If you guys could just check out the Streetlights General Campaign Fund that was shared on here. I'd appreciate it. Trying to do some things in the community, get some kids into the YMCA and other things. It's a general campaign, so really we could use it for whatever we want to help the kids, man, to help the community. So yeah, if you guys you want to do that, that'd be great. That's all I ask.
Awesome. And tomorrow I've got a show with Mike Decentralized at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I'm going to be on Liberty Dad's podcast at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday. And following that up with You Aren't a Real Libertarian, the game show at 8 p.m. on Friday. And yeah, and then we'll be back here next Wednesday. And I want to keep exploring this. Like, I think we made some good progress here,
Yeah.
and, you know, started to uncover some of the challenges, but also some of the solutions.
Yeah, all day, bro. I enjoy these talks. It's always good. You are the man, Free. I'm glad we're getting off right now because I got to pee so bad.
Yeah, I drank this much tea, so it's good timing for me as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
God
here's
bless
one more
all of
time.
y'all,
Here's
brother.
that link.
Yeah, that's the link right there, everybody. If you'd like to donate, it's givebutter.com/2025 general campaign. That's it. That's the one. Appreciate you. All of y'all.
Yeah, thanks for everybody
that
that's sharing this out and helping us out. We really appreciate it. We're trying to get this out to as many people as possible. Please reshare the live stream so people can watch it on replay.
You know what? I do got
appreciate-
one more thing. I got one more thing before we go. I just want to give a shout out to Mama Dawn, Big Papa Dan, Eric, Romans, something like that. My mods, you guys are amazing. Cindy, Kim, everybody, Wrigley, Rob, you know, all of you guys, man, all the members of my YouTube channel. I thank you guys. I appreciate you. You help out a lot. And it's a blessing to have y'all, man. I appreciate you guys being a part of my life and everything that you do, however you help. All you guys that are watching right now that just hit that like button, thank you. All of y'all that share my stuff out, thank you. It's been noticeable. The growth has been insane. So thank you for that. And shout out to Chuck Holton because he brought me literally about 2,000 new subscribers to my channel. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for helping this thing be successful. With that, I say good night.
Peace all. Good night.